What's up, guys? Welcome to Running Back with Blair Bomber. I'm still alive. I'm just living my life the way I would any other day of the week, you know? It's hard to chug beer when it's really cold, and it's really cold. Also, I want to keep it more cold, so I better just put it in this little nice shout out Bonnie. You know, I'm not even gonna get into. It's such a bummer because everyone's talking about it. Like everywhere you look, every outlet is talking about it, and I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not even gonna name it. I'm just gonna push right through on something I've been thinking about for maybe 10 to 15 seconds. I think it'd be. I think we think it's interesting when someone has a drug problem. We're like, oh, he's kind of a bad boy. It's not that cool. Like I don't know. Like, I know a couple people who have had some pretty serious substance abuse problems, and it's not really the coolest thing. I read Josh Hamilton's book. Do you remember Josh Hamilton? He was an outfielder for the Rangers. He was the guy who was famous. He was number one pick in the draft for the Tampa Bay Rays, the Marlins. Doesn't matter. But you know what? That's something I want to pause real quick. When someone's trying to tell you something and they get hung up on a detail that has no consequence on what you're talking about, it does not matter at all. Like someone's like, oh, this is really important about that meeting we had last week. I was thinking about this, and it was where was I at? Where was I at when I was thinking about this? I was at home. I was at Disneyland. I was at the pharmacy. I was waiting in line to get meat. I just can't remember where I was when I thought about it. It doesn't matter. Get to the point. It's not get to what you're supposed to say. And I know that's hypocritical of me to say because everything I say on here is just a segue into something that's not important to what I originally talked about. But this is the pod. This is what you get. And it's free. So it's free content. So get fucked. All right? Josh Hamilton was like the man. He was the legend. He's a great high school player. He got drafted out of high school. He was the man. He's not the smartest guy in the world. So when he became, the number one draft pick and got all this money, he got real into drugs. He's big partier. And he starts... They always talk about gateway drugs. This is a gateway to that thing. That's a gateway to this thing. I think that only applies if you have an IQ of 3. If you have an IQ of 3, then yeah, there are gateway drugs. But if you're just a rational person who enjoys getting drunk, I've never been drunk and thought, man, I really want to do some crack. Never once have I gotten drunk and thought, well, does anybody have any heroin? Never in my entire life have I had 13 beers and thought, I wonder if angel dust would fit in both of my nostrils at the same time. Probably. Let's find out. No, it's never like that. That's never what it is. Alcohol is a drug, yes. And it does lead to bad eating habits. Like I'll get drunk and think Taco Bell is going to be in me later. Taco Bell is going to penetrate my mouth and it's going to bust a load in me. And then I'm going to, shit my pants later. But that's part of the process. Or Chick-fil-A, or pizza for that matter. Shout out Taco Burrito House on the corner of Broadway and Barry, Chicago, Illinois. Taco Burrito House. How can you argue the simplicity of that name? They were open till 3, 4 on Saturdays. Go there any time of the day and get 6 tacos for $6? No, that's too easy. It was 3 tacos, $3. No. 3 tacos, $5. See, there I go again. Getting caught up on the dollar amount. Doesn't matter. The tacos were great. Wasted. Sober, they're like, okay, these are just meat and fake corn meal. But still counted. It was still good. That place was amazing. But that's kind of a decision you make when you're wasted. Even smoking weed, I've never smoked weed and been like, God, man, this thing really makes me want to inject something into my neck. But Josh Hamilton was the guy with the IQ of 4. So he would get drunk and be like, you have Coke? Okay, that makes more sense to me. If you're a guy who's drinking, you get wasted and you're doing a little bit of blow to even you out, that's different. As I try and rationalize doing drugs. Well, I mean, like the bad ones are the bad ones. Until I've done them, they're not as bad. I can do crack tomorrow and then rationalize it to myself. Like, well, I mean, Blair, you had to do it. Everybody else was doing it. If they're doing it and you're not, you don't want to be the only one not doing it. then you look like a narc, and you already have that mustache. So you do. Right now, I look like the kind of guy who yelled at his kid during t-ball. Like that's how I look like the kind of guy who doesn't say a word in the car. No, I look like the kind of guy who would not yell at his kid at the game, but when we get into the car, he's gonna hear it, and I'll say it to him like, "We'll talk about it in the car," and then my kid starts crying. Do people spank their kids anymore? Is that a thing? People spank their kids? I'm asking because I don't have kids, but when I do have kids, assuming I have kids, how else are you gonna? Maybe I'll just choke him out. Maybe if you just choke your kid unconscious enough times, then maybe he'll figure it out at some point. I feel like my dad should have choked me out more than he did. He did a couple times, but that was, I mean, I had it coming. I mean, that's what you do when you're 24 and you're acting up. You got to get choked out. Shout out Ed. Good at he's got a great rear naked choke. Great rear naked choke. He's got the best rear naked choke in the game. For, a guy over. My dad's 60 yet? I don't know. He might be. Does anybody remember their birthdays of their parents? Does that make me a bad guy? This is what I do. If I start having beers before I have breakfast, also it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I should have had breakfast a long time ago. I had a bagel with peanut butter and some honey on it and some caffeine. Does that really count as breakfast? I don't know if it does. I want to believe it does, but maybe it definitely doesn't. Anyway, Josh Hamilton's a fucking moron. And he would drink and then do blow, and then got a bad coke problem, like a real bad coke problem. His book is very interesting because he's very candid about, hey, I was a piece of shit, and this is the things that I did, and it's not gonna make me look good. He had such a bad coke problem. This is how crazy it is. He had such a bad coke problem that he tore his sinuses, like the lining of your sinuses behind your nose. If you know what sinuses are, you need those. If you've ever had a sinus infection, this is how much this sucks. He would do so much blow that it ripped all his sinuses up, and he could feel the little. He said it felt like spaghetti strings behind the wall of his cheeks. So what he would do is he would go into his room, take a t-shirt, and blow his nose until his sinuses would come through his nostrils, and he would pull them out. He would just pull them out like a wizard with some, like a magician. He would pull them out like a magician with the shit out of his sleeves. He would do that with his sinuses in his nose. Is that just, dude? If you're pulling things out of your body, I'm done with that drug. The drug's over. What more? What do you want? Hey, yeah, dude. I've been doing this drug lately, and it's making me, pull things that were in my body, outside my body, and then I throw them in a t-shirt. Should I keep doing this drug? Maybe not. Maybe stop doing the drug. But then from there, you would think that would be enough. But no, he's like, nah, no, coke, it's pretty cool, but have you tried crack? And Josh Hamilton was like, I have not tried. I would love to try. Do you have crack on you right now? Let's kick this party off. I'm excited. Time. What was my time? World record? World record. Gotta be a world record. That one felt good. That one felt like, it should. Josh Hamilton, he flew off the deep end, and then he slowly regained his way. Dude, I know I've been shitting on him kind of, but it's one of the best autobiographies I've ever read, because he got to the point where he was like 115 pounds. The guy's like 6'4". He's walked around like 225, 230. Got down to like 145 pounds, was sleeping in a crack den. And then finally his grandma let him stay with him, and he slowly started to eat, slowly got himself back, went in the batting cages 6 to 8 hours a day. The dude was an absolute machine, worked his way back up, got signed by the Texas Rangers, and then was inches away from being the hero of the World Series. He also was the MVP. Like, let's not forget. Like, this guy was the MVP of baseball. And he was the home run king. Like, that's the problem with the home run derby. It's like, oh, he hit like 75 home runs and lost because on a technicality. But no one remembers I don't remember who won that one. I remember that Josh Hamilton hit 39 in one round. That was pretty insane. And also, the guy that was pitching, that was throwing those to him, was his high school coach, I think. It's like a high school coach. There's some like connection from back in the day. And he told me, hey, if you ever in the home run derby, you're going to come throw for me, right? Yeah, of course. It's a storybook type deal. It makes it all the way back. And then he hit like a home run, right, to put him up in like the top of the 11th against the Cards. And then, David Freese, I think, came out in the next inning and then it ended up like a walk-off. But like, so he was this close to being all the way full circle, home run derby, MVP, the great, World Series champ. It's an amazing story. But at the same time, just don't smoke crack. Like, don't do crack. Don't smoke crack. Why are you smoking crack? Stop it. Stop what you're doing. The only way I'm smoking crack tomorrow is if 3 of the hottest women I've ever seen say, hey, you gotta smoke this crack. Then it's like, okay, yeah. Hot women have that power. Hot women can just say, hey, can do this thing that you thought you would never, ever do, but do it for us. And there's strength in numbers. One hot woman saying smoke crack, probably. Have I said I love you yet? I don't think I've said I love you yet. So maybe to show me your tits and I can move on to the next thing. But, but if there's 2 of them, okay, now I'm more like, okay, I'll hear you out. How good is this crack? What's it going to feel like? It's going to feel really good? Tell me it's going to feel good. 3 women? 3 of the hottest women? Hey, Blair, yeah, I will. Yeah, sure. Yes, I will. I will do that right now. Tell me you're going to watch me do it. Will you watch me do it? Tell me you're going to watch me do it. Because it's only fun for me if you watch, okay? Okay? Because we're always trying to justify these vices that we have, right? Like, if I can justify being kind of a dirt dog, it'll make me want to do it more. I posted a picture of me reimagining sad Ben Affleck. It's the sad Ben Affleck paparazzi photo of him taking a drag of a cigarette and just looking not hot, not good. Benny was having a tough go of it, probably just getting divorced. And he might have herpes. I don't know. I heard Jennifer Garner has herpes. No verification on this. Don't do a lot of fact checking here on Run It Back. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I'm not going to smoke. By the way, I think cigarettes are so much worse for me than smoking weed is. Like, I had a joint roll, and I was like, hey, my boy Isaac, hey, just don't finish that. Leave that out. I'm going to use that for when Sarah and I take this picture. Sarah, my roommate, I always talk about her. She's kind of a neurotic, weird, wild piece of shit. And I only say that out loud because I know she's listening in the other room. And I was hoping she's listening because then I would get like maybe a laugh out of her, but maybe not. You ever bomb in your own apartment to your roommates that you think are listening, but they really don't give a shit about what you're saying? So it's almost worse than bombing. Making a joke that no one heard kind of feels worse because it's 2-parter. 1, you didn't say it loud enough, so you didn't commit to it. 2, no one laughed. Wasn't that funny? That's kind of where I'm at right now. But I have this little bit of a joint. And I go outside, and I don't want to smoke it. I want to just light it and have it for the picture. But to light it, you gotta smoke it. And then I thought, well, it's like I already lit it, so I just, come on, it's legal. It's legal in California. Come on, yeah, have a little bit. What are you doing? But then I got a little high in the morning. And I justified it by being like, well, I did this for my art. Like, this was a great picture, and I love the way it looked, so I'm justifying it. This episode, going into it, I was like, man, what if I just got lit up on the podcast? What if I started drinking beers, smoking weed, doing the whole thing, and just got absolutely obliterated and just kept it rolling? Would that make it better? Probably not. But in my mind, I'm like, yo, that would make it better. Let's for sure drink beers at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I slammed that beer. I'm like, okay, 1 beer. I haven't eaten much today, so 1 beer is probably enough, right? I remember reading this thing forever ago about John Travolta when he was getting ready to do Pulp Fiction. He's playing a heroin addict. He's playing a guy who's addicted to heroin, who does heroin the entire movie. Also, you don't realize it. Like when I remember watching it for the first 100 times, you don't realize that when he's on that date with Mia Wallace, with they're at that Jackrabbit Slims, and he's being kind of weird. He's ordering the milkshake. It's a pretty good fucking milkshake. It's because he's on heroin. Like he's high off his ass. Like he had a needle in his arm an hour prior. The guy is skating right now. Skating on the heroin ice. That's what he's doing. And I remember reading about Travolta. It's research, right? So he talked to a couple people who are, ex-heroin addicts or current. Are you an ex-addict or you're always an addict? I think they say they're always an addict. But he's talking to the guy and he's like, hey man, like, what is it like? Could you, first of all, hilarious. Ask an addict, hey, what's heroin like? I think you can learn a lot about that guy with how he responds. If he's like, nothing better than a little bit of heroin at all times. It's like, it's like coming, sneezing times 1,000 on a cloud made of other vaginas orgasming. That's what it's like. You're like, whoa, okay. Do you have any on you? Are we going to relapse together? Never done it, but I kind of want to go through your relapse with you. But he talked to a guy, and the guy was like, hey, look, this is what you do. Get absolutely plastered on tequila and sit in a hot tub. Sit in a hot tub, put your feet over the edge, and lay back so you're kind of floating. And if you do that, that is scratching the surface of what it's like to be high on heroin. John Travolta being the thespian that he is. Hell yeah. Did you hear the door slam? It wasn't even a door slam. It's a door closed. A slam door never something. No one ever hears a door slam and goes, ooh, I love that. Must be fun in there. A closed door. Well, you ever have that where the windows are open, so you close your door and you don't mean to close it hard, but like the air tunnel slams it and you're like, ah, shit, sorry, I'm not mad, I promise. It's just the windows are open. It happens to me at least once or twice a week. But yeah, Travolta and his wife, I don't know, who cares who his wife is. Travolta and his wife, they were at a hotel in LA. And what they did was, and I think this is a little too ceremonial, but I mean, the guy's a Scientologist, so I guess it is kind of in keeping. They got a bottle of tequila and put shots of tequila around the hot tub of their hotel. Why they're at a hotel? I don't know. Wait, he probably wasn't jet rich yet. He probably was pre-jet being rich. They lined the hot tub with shots of tequila. And they rip through all the shots, and then they both lay back together in the name of research. At some point, I feel like if you get that wasted, like you're not going to remember it. So, was it research? But in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, no, that's research. No, yeah, for sure. If I'm an actor, and I play a guy who's a sex addict, you better believe I'm going to be fucking, dude. Like that, I think method actors, I think those people that are method, I think they're just doing that to have an excuse to embody that shitty quality of the person. Also, actors kind of fucking suck in the first place. So what, like Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm sure, I've heard Jake Gyllenhaal speak before on a podcast, like multiple podcasts, like one podcast. And the guy's fucking boring. Like, you're boring. That's why you're always playing somebody else. That's why you're always saying words that somebody else wrote. You ever heard Leonardo DiCaprio talk? He's always on his save the planet. Whatever. Give me Brad Pitt, though. I heard him talk on Maron's podcast, WTF. Listen to it. It's got, millions and millions of subscribers. So this shout out's Maron's going to see a bump in his pod after listening to this. You're welcome, Mark. I heard Brad Pitt on there. And the dude is just the coolest guy. Everything he says, he's not that funny. I guess I never really... Do you associate cool and funny together? Because in a lot of movies, the coolest guy isn't the funniest guy. There's the funny best friend. But I think the funny guy is way cooler than the not funny guy. Like, do you want to be the guy who's like, yeah, I'm dark and I'm brooding and I might have a drug problem, but God, I'm handsome. But you can't have a conversation with him about, I don't know, anything that's not to do with him. Ugh. Fucking nightmare that would be. I don't know. But the Travolta thing, the getting wasted for the role. By the way, he killed it. He didn't win an Oscar. Goddamn travesty. Fuck the Oscars. The Oscars don't know what the fuck they're doing. Back they gave Brad Pitt the Oscar. That's the only good thing the Oscars have ever done. Well, two good things. They gave Leo got the Oscar and Brad Pitt got the Oscar. That's great. That's all I want to do. Get my guys Oscars. I want to be able to justify having these vices. So look, okay, let's back up. If I'm an actor and I'm playing a sex addict, your boy's going to be fucking. I'm going to be out in the streets. I don't care who. For research, anybody you say who that girl. Let's go. It's for research. No, I'm not wearing a condom. It's for a sex addict would never wear a condom. It's not real sex. If there's a condom on, it's not actually sex. Everyone knows that. I mean, for this podcast right now, I've slammed 17 beers for this podcast. I did it for the pod, team. For the pod. Let me ask you something. Before we're getting closer to wrapping it up, and the episodes are getting longer because I got nothing else to do. Let me ask you this: do I talk about banging too much? Is it all about just drugs and fucking? Is that all I'm talking about? Because I don't think it's an issue. I think it's funny. I think who else is talking about banging this much? I don't have mass appeal, but if you're the kind of person who's listening for a podcast for something PG, it's like, what are you doing? You know, this is like pirate radio. Like, why do you care? Like, I'm trying to give you the shit that you don't hear all the time. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to give you the stuff that you actually are like, I don't hear this every day. Also, don't listen to me on speaker. It's got to be a headphone only thing. Listen to me on speaker and you're going to get some, is that guy okay? And why are you listening to him speak? Like I made the conscious decision. Conscience. I say this every time. The conscious decision to try to avoid talking about, penetration. But sometimes I think it's just on my mind. It's never far from my mind. It's never more than like one thought removed away from. Like if I'm on Tinder, which I am currently, it's getting really interesting at this point. Is I'll go on Tinder and I will try my best to steer the conversation to sex. Not because I want to fuck them. Sometimes it's not the person I'm attracted to. Well, I'll match somebody I'm not attracted to, but I still want to have the conversation. Because sex to me is so interesting in how other people look at it. Like I was talking to this girl literally just yesterday. We were talking. And she was like, yeah, I haven't really done anything the last couple of days. She was like, I watched TikTok videos for 3 hours. It's like, dude, I watched porn for 2 hours and didn't even jerk off. I was just that tired of Netflix. Like that's where I'm at currently. Is I'm just watching porn like, it's not how I would have done it. Also, do they need gloves to gape an asshole? I feel like that's a little bit overdone. Also, why is there a bowling pin in her ass? Why is it there? You don't need it there. Bowling pins literally have one use, and that's in a bowling alley with a guy who thinks he knows what he's doing. He's like putting that spin on it. You ever see a guy at a bowling alley, and he has the nice kick step, and he just lines it up just right, and he follows through. Fuck that guy. That guy sucks. If you're the kind of guy who follows through at a bowling alley, get fucked. Get away from me. I'm over you. No one gets laid off bowling. Pros don't get laid. Pros are already married because they're nice guys, and then they are bowlers, but they're not the kind of guy. No one's getting out of bowling alley like, are there bowling alley groupies? No, they're not. Well, if there are, they're disgusting. Don't fuck them. Fuck somebody else. What was I saying? There's something probably super important. Probably super not that important. If we're being really honest, it probably wasn't that important. Bowling alleys? Banging. Talking about banging. Yeah, I should probably stop talking about banging so much. Oh, yeah, the girl on, yeah. The Tinder thing is I want to hear them. I want to know what I feel like women are never I feel like women are never forthcoming about how much porn they watch, if they watch it at all. And if you don't watch porn at all, I kind of respect that. I kind of also think you're weird. Maybe women are just better at just vibes than we are, because women can just be horny and just ride that horn wave with no stimulation visually, grab a vibrator or the old, and just, and they're good. Or, and just do their thing. See, look, I made it about sex. See how I always make it about sex? I don't know, man. Nikki Glazer has a career, and all she does is a hot girl talking about banging. But also, men are the only ones paying to see comedy these days. Like, if I have a whole female following, like, I love when they're talking about sex. They're not coming to the shows. 30 minutes? This is going to get, okay, this is 30 minutes raw, which means it's going to be edited down to 26. Okay, here's the thing, guys. At the beginning of the pod, I'm supposed to say, rate, review, subscribe. Rate, review, subscribe. But I feel like if you're at the beginning of the pod, you're probably not going to do that. I think if I have you at the end of the pod, if you made it this entire time and you're still with me, I think you're the kind of person who might rate, review, and subscribe. So, rate, review, subscribe. Repost. If I post a clip on Instagram, fucking repost it, will you? God damn it. You're not doing anything. It's a pandemic, you cunts. All right, there's a little buzz. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. I'm drinking beers. I've had 0 protein today. Half a bagel. I better start working fast. Otherwise, I'm getting nothing done the rest of the day. All right, eat shit. I'm done. I think. I'm done.